We can see the components, the ramifications, the construction, the frequencies, the reach of the energy of love easier than a human can. And yet, it's because you have a real physical heart that you feel love in a different way than we could ever hope to feel.
You are about to watch a Tandem Beyond Quantum Healing session. This session was a demonstration for the BQH Immersion class event that took place in the spring of 2024. The facilitator of the session was Diana Adair, and the subjects were myself, Candace Goldman, and Donna McMurtry. We laid on the floor under a single copper pyramid. We were surrounded by the rest of the class members. This event was held in a lake house in Augusta, Kansas, and the lake was just steps away from the room in which we were. The intention for the session was very simple: to connect to Dolores Cannon. Both Donna and I had sensed her presence and interest in communicating in the days leading up to the class. You will notice that both Candace and Donna's bodies exhibit quite a bit of movement. Not every client experiences this during quantum healing, but some certainly do. And not every person who does experience such movement experiences it every time. For myself, these energy waves have almost always been experienced in tandem sessions alone. Please know that the energy is not at all unpleasant. As a matter of fact, quite the opposite. The feeling of the waves washing through the body is fantastic and contains strong healing codes and energy that help keep the physical form healthy and in balance. As you watch the session, however, it's important to note that some extraordinary quantum healings contain no energy felt at all.
Just let me know when you are there. Just tell us what you see.
At the moment, I am seeing, I am feeling like I'm hovering above a waterfall, but it's like a waterfall made out of very, not garish, but very gentle rainbow light.
You said you're hovering above it?
So far, that's what's going on right now, except for the fact that I am very aware that it's a strong and powerful waterfall. It's crashing below, and I know that there's like a kind of, you know how there's mists around waterfalls often and negative ions? That's massive. And all of that is very important, apparently, to whatever all this is. Each one of those little droplets of water are little balls, little orbs, little rainbow things. But please know it's not garish. Like you see posters and stuff that have the rainbow kind of colors. It's not garish. It's so not giantly subtle. It's just absolutely beautiful.
Sounds about how tall is this waterfall?
Now, really, now I don't have a perspective of that. It's a big one, though. It's powerful. And I know that while I'm sort of describing a waterfall, this is a symbolic thing. I mean, it's symbolic. It does have to do with water, but it's not like an actual waterfall somewhere on the planet.
Can you feel those mists at all from where you were?
can't feel them like if I had a body or anything, because but I am taking in the information, and I understand what their components and their energy signatures are, but I don't like a real waterfall. You might feel cool or moist. I don't feel that, but I know that that's there and that information is being shared. And I know I'm just in a holding pattern until my partner speaks.
But what I'm seeing is it's as if the pyramid in this room is, just the space in space, not cosmic space, but if you took the house away and all these physical surroundings, but we're all in this formation, and I'm seeing the waterfall beneath us where we're laying, and then I see this pyramid of light encasing all of us, not just Candace and I, encasing all of us here. And then I see a pyramid of light, like upside down with its point hitting our point, if that makes sense, with the two tips. And in that pyramid of light, I see Dolores with her. And I see her like in the middle of that pyramid, ready to communicate, but then around like we have around us, all these wonderful people, I see her with people around her.
Beautiful. So Dolores has all these people around her, and you have all of us around you. And the pyramid points, do they touch?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
It's like light.
Mm-hmm.
Light that touches, yeah.
Mm-hmm. It touches. Beautiful. And for either of you, as you look down at yourself, what is your sense of self in this space?
I just see us all as energy. Doesn't really matter.
Yeah, it's like choosing your perspective. It's almost like there's like a three-dimensional grid or something. And it's like, well, at what point do you want to describe? It's kind of 360 and
But the waterfall to me is such a beautiful symbol of what physical life could be in its highest form. Like just this beautiful colors of consciousness always flowing, massive amounts of flow. Never ending flow.
I love that. Massive amounts of consciousness ever flowing.
it's the other part of it too. So the water flows and then goes down and like, the gravity part of it, but the mist and the water and then the evaporation, it comes back up. So it's not just one direction. It's two directions. It's back and forth flow. It's not one directional flow. And I have this real sense, and she just kind of can't wait to talk about it. Dolores. So part of what's happening here is because she's almost like giddy. So much Diana, like you and other practitioners like you and like all of us, when we do a session and we help facilitate communication between our clients and unseen realms, Dolores she wants to facilitate communication. The beings and that are around her are interested in this connection, and they are using their own connection with Dolores to have communication with us.
Can you tell us a little bit more about the beings around her before we hand this over to her to facilitate?
Well, Dr. Emoto. Almost feels like some of her guides.
Mm-hmm.
I don't recognize them.
How many do you see beings around her?
I see the whole pyramid lined.
Yeah, just
A lot. There's a lot.
a lot. The standing room only kind of thing, and there are people like peeking in from the edges, or beings peeking in from the edges. It's a
The show.
yeah.
It's a show.
Mhm.
So you said people, but then other beings too? What else do you see?
It's not that specific for me.
Just light, yeah, light-based consciousness.
Well, welcome, Dolores, and your class to our class. And we're so delighted to join these classes together and have one big show here. Thank you so much for coming for our request and connecting with Candace and Donna. And what would you like to tell us about this interaction today? Just start out.
Well, we've been preparing for this. Candace knows how long we've been preparing for this moment, for this meeting. And we're going to let Candace speak. I'm going to let my class, as you say, speak through her.
Much is made of, I'm not sure exactly how this voice, this isn't just Dolores. Whatever I'm about to speak right now is, I don't know. When I figure it out, I'll let you know. This information, this next sort of transmission just is wanting to come through. So it has to do with love. And the larger sense of love, the real big, all-encompassing components of love. And much of humanity has a experience with this word, with this topic, because of the pain that has come around the experiences that you call love. We want to tell you, as we hold each one of your hearts, energetic hand, that it is the expansion of your hearts, expansion of your understanding and expression of love. That is allowing you to make these higher connections today. And while the word higher is used here, it's kind of ridiculous because it's wrong in many senses. It's not better, but it's a different channel, if you would. But it's interesting because we can see the components, the ramifications, the construction, the frequencies, the reach of the energy of love easier than a human can. And yet, because you have a real physical heart, that you feel love in a different way than we could ever hope to feel. We come to you today, not to impart any sort of loftier wisdom for you. We actually humbly ask if you might allow us to feel what physical heart love feels like as we speak with you with great kindness and gentleness. And gratefulness. Understand what love is. This is why we arranged, yes, we did it. We helped arrange this for Candace to have the session yesterday with Nicole. and Lisa. It was all about love, and that was all about family love. It's this concept of love that so many in creation do not have access to in the way that you might, as a human, have access to. And as wounded as many of you feel in this way, the power of love through the human heart is something we can only talk about in theory, if you would. And it's the human love in the deepest, densest physical that you're able to have this love in that density is astounding to us. Thank you for offering us the experience of connecting with your human heart love today.
Thank you for sharing that, and I'm wondering what you can share with us to understand this love that we feel and experience and generate through our human hearts a little better, so we can connect more fully with it ourselves while we're in the human life.
Well, it's Donna's turn to talk about this, but the impulse, some of the details of it, if you are, so much of it has to do with something Candace has already shared. And that is how on a multiple times per day basis, for quite some time now, especially in the colder weather, when Candace has made the fire with the infrared light, using the pine cones that Donna made for her with the love that were in the candles that she melted, that her mother had and loved for all those years, that love connection, it just grows and grows and grows. And Candace has said this to Donna and Diana so often, but if you could see how brightly the love connection is between these women, it is at the heart of what is kind of powering this connection and communication that's happening right now. It's like an infrared campfire right now, helping us to understand this love as we know that you are wanting to know about us as well. And there's a lot, there's a lot to communicate, but before Donna continues from here, just know that it is powered by the love, the friendship, the hearts that connect, and how they've been nourished by so much mutual respect and generosity and true friendship. This kind of communication can only happen with that kind of very powerful love.
Thank you for that example of how love helps us make these connections. And I wonder if you would speak further about the uncomfortableness that humanity has around this topic. You've given a great example of how to make this connection, which help us shift that uncomfortableness to a different energy where we can embrace this or be comfortable with it.
Yes, and so as Donna, I just want to tell you first what I'm seeing before then I speak what they're speaking, but it's really fun because all of the consciousnesses around Dolores are channeling in through her mind because she's so good at putting stuff into words that we can then channel out to you. So it's this fun, like, hourglass shape almost of the stuff coming into her mind, and then through Candace's or mine, and then out to all of you here. So it's a fun visual. Speaking of the uncomfortableness that humanity has with having an open heart, with being the full love portals that they're capable of being from their heart space. It is uncomfortableness because in some cases, some of you believe it's finite. You don't believe it's like the waterfall that will never ever shut off. If you could understand how much is available to come through each and every one of you into your realms, into your world, through your heart space, into each and every heart you encounter. Doesn't matter if you ever speak to those people, if you ever have any interactions with those people at all. The intention to have a open heart space, a spigot of love, always coming out from the portal that you are, each and every one of your hearts. This will change your environment as you move through the world, just to have this intention, this knowing that there is an infinite flow of love that comes through you. And then when you focus on specific friendships, specific people, it just explodes with what can come through you.
So it's more strengthened through friends or people we have connections with, but we can direct our spigot to anyone.
You can walk through life as a spigot that is turned on at all times. You don't do this because you see it as losing energy. You don't understand that what comes through your heart portal is source, and that is never, ever, ever ending. And it is not your energy, it is source energy flowing through you. And so moving your belief system from, I can't have an open heart all the time, I would lose energy, to my energy is my energy in my space. Source energy coming through my heart space is source energy, and I am willing to share that at all times as I move through the world. This alone will change everything about your realm, your reality, as you move through your reality.
We would speak to you next about your collective broken hearts. The attacks upon the human heart have been direct and severe, particularly in the last few years. How many of you heard of the word myocarditis before recently? We gather here to tell you that we are in awe that you are still alive and kicking on this planet. It's a surprise, you know. If there were things like bets on our, you would have seen that many would have taken the bet that you couldn't have survived what you have survived. And yes, it has broken and wounded many of you, but that breaking open of that shell has provided opportunity for access. And many of the people who have passed and moved into the other realm are right here with us, assisting you right now in their own ways, cheering you on. For it is not until you have left your physical form that you realize how really, truly incredible you are. In the moment, so many of you have and realize that it's like, dang, why couldn't I, didn't I, shouldn't I, why? Why didn't I? The missed opportunities. But that's okay, it's very common. It has to do with how this has all been set up. The challenge before you has been astronomically difficult. And it's lasted over eons, truly. And numerous iterations and opportunities and stops and starts and starting it all over. And yet you're still here. And you're still so strong in some of the densest realities that exist anywhere at all. Yes, there's denser portions of reality out there, but they don't contain the kind of vulnerable consciousness that the human embodies. This dichotomy, this balance between the density and potential for expansion is unique. You think you're puny and worth nothing?
You're the greatest team that's ever lived on this planet. The greatest team that's ever lived on this planet. All of you.
Thank you for that. I love that dichotomy you spoke of. And of course, this leads to the question is how can we feel more of this now while we're in the human body? Instead of waiting.
Gather, sweetly. You're doing it. This is it. This is it. Do more of this.
Do more of this.
Do
Do more of the
Doesn't it
gathering.
feel good? Who doesn't feel better here
Yeah.
than when you first started? This ripples, reverberates, is carried off in every one of those little orbs of the mist, of the water consciousness. When you breathe, even the moisture in your breath, you leave a trail of this love wherever you go. And if you color those breaths with words of love and kindness to your fellow human, it's more beautiful and brighter in this deep, dark place where you are still being attacked, minimized, vilified, and told you're wrong and that things are impossible. It's not true. It's not true. It's all possible. Every last thing you've ever allowed yourself to imagine is true. And not for some beings like us or 16 galaxies away from you, but for you. And if you can even just allow yourself to imagine it in the etheric realm, which now you know and you have access to, you help create it in your physical density, where worlds upon worlds and race upon race have proclaimed it impossible. It's not. It's impossible. Ready, proof already.
Thank you for that. I love that. Do more of this gathering, and that we leave a trail of love wherever we go. And I'm curious what you would say too of these resistances that we have, the difficulties that create the shell. And you spoke of breaking open the shell. To say to us, this class, and anyone we share it with, of how to clear that, how to break open our shells, so we can choose to do more of this gathering, being spigots of love.
Just decide to. And envision or imagine, maybe write about, maybe sing about. What would it look like to be the bravest, boldest, biggest person I could be? Decide to and imagine that and go forth as that. When you wake up in the morning and you're lying in your beds, I want to move through today as the biggest, boldest, brightest version, portal of love that I can possibly be today. See what happens.
But here's how you can consider it. Times where it may seem difficult or that it doesn't fly. Because you will, as these practitioners of the heart, you will hear of heartbreak. And there will be villains in the stories that you hear and people who do unspeakable things. Some of those people shatter the most hearts. They break them. They break yours. And while you need not celebrate their actions or their acts, love them too. Love them too. They are made of the same stuff that you are made of. They come from the same source that you are made of. Separate yourself not from them, from their actions, maybe. From them, no. They are you, you are them. You've been them. Each one of you have been them. In your eons of existence, you've been them. So love them now too.
We like to call this being a love rebel. Who are you not supposed to love? Love them.
Candace wants to say chase them around in a grocery store. It's just so funny.
Thank you. That's such an important message because we're so polarized and we're so programmed to be polarized, and us and them, and so much division in our species right now still. So
Don't fall.
Don't fall for it. Seems like it could be a way for us to move through that and dissolve the divisions.
Separate the acts from the souls. They're two different things.
You've brought in this powerful waterfall today, and I'm curious, Candace saw this as very symbolic. And what is the purpose? What do you want us to know about this waterfall and all the different parts of it, the mists, the droplets,
Yes.
the colors?
Yes. The lake. The lake outside this window. Emoto and Dolores are doing the can. A little bit. Right behind these drapes. It's really actually very funny. Um, I want you to, and they know you've already done this as a human, but do this again. Look at when sunlight hits water. That line, that glinty line, that sparkling diamond lit line, that happens on the water. It's so powerful. And yes, it has to do with water. And if you can think of powerful sun, powerful light plus water while you are assisting others in this way, and the fact that all of the photonic light and all of the water, all of the smallest particles of your dense reality, if it's not directly intertwined with water, water helps animate everything around it. Case in point, all of the salt here in Kansas, this place of often maligned flatness, because this was a powerful ocean with some of the most spectacular seas ever seen on your planet. And all of that energy is right here, accessible to you now. And that's earth energy, that's the water energy, that's density consciousness energy, and it can now expand, because the reason there are so many beings here, it's an announcement of sorts, a fractalization of sorts. Dolores used to say, they. Goodness gracious. I can't stop this, by the way. It's just flapping through me.
That's perfect. It reminds me of, you called this a transmission, that it was all about love. And so I wanted to ask about that also.
Stand by, the points has not yet been made about this. Access. They. Dolores always saw it as a group, as a facet of something larger. And very few have had access to this directly. We are the they. We are using Dolores in part as a spokesperson, as a facilitator, to make greater access with you here now. Yes, you here, even here in this room, would you like greater access? We would like greater access.
Yes.
Can we? Yes. Can we connect? Can we partner? Can we exchange what we can benefit, that you can benefit from? Simply say yes in your hearts if you agree, and we will begin the process. We will begin the process. But this is not up to us. This is a partnership. This is why there's two pyramids, why there's spokesmen on your dense side, why Dolores is holding space, speaking less words than typical somehow. Exactly. She's laughing about that. Well, what's kind of happening here is Dolores is sort of channeling her they. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's not just Dolores' singular voice. It's a they voice coming through. And she is telling you so so many of you now can have access to the same they she had. She was kind of an experiment. They picked this unassuming, very plain speaking Arkansas grandma wife. Most unassuming person. It showed her what was possible. Always has been to an extent possible here and there, but now a greater portion of these facets of connection, understanding, and possibility, and creation of reality in the physical is available to you too. And we are here.
Thank you so much for coming. Is there more information we could get about the day? Would there be a better term to refer to you as, or would that help in our connection with you?
And that's not supposed to come from me. I think Donna's supposed to.
They is pretty perfect because it's not about the who exactly all they have been. It's about it being collectives upon collectives upon collectives. The summation that's available to all of us, all of you.
Thank you so much for speaking with all of us today and offering this connection to us. And if either Donna or Candace would allow this to come through, and there's been a unanimous yes in this room and in our hearts. We are open to receive with so much gratitude for this.
Well, it's coming through. It's coming through. One of the biggest ways is through the water. There's a reason why you're 70% water in your bodies, why this planet is 70% water or more.
And why the storms accompanied you in this gathering.
Water is liquid consciousness. Consciousness is the material of the universe. Material in 3D physical form of all that is, translated. You all think that it's easy to think that the answers or the connections lay way out there somewhere, way up high somewhere. Such high, lofty frequencies or tools or rituals or knowings. It's right here. It's as simple as water. Simple as your hearts. It's as simple as being together. That's the magic.
Thank you so much for flowing this through the waters of our bodies. Is it all right if I ask another question while this happens, or better to wait and let us know when this is complete?
Well, there's a whole lot of beings here that want to know what you want to ask. don't think of it in terms of better or worse. We think of it in terms of open to the flow and practicing that. Practicing being more and more open to the flow between you and your client, between you and your source, between the client and their source.
Being open to the flow. We were also curious about what are next steps for us practitioners with these understandings you've given us today and our own paths and journeys up to this point. What's next for us?
Steps vary with each individual, not the same for each, identically. Just show up to see what the next step would be. Pay attention to the small moments. Small moments. And hold the biggest keys. They will continually be revealed to you as you gather and pay attention to each one in front of you. Simple acknowledgement goes a long way. Another word for that is gratitude, of course. So when you have a small moment, meet it with gratitude and let the smallest of moments set the potential for magic and miracles in your life. This will differ for each.
This is Donna. I just want to give you a couple of visuals I'm being shown. First of all, the great gathering of beings around Dolores are really intrigued with feeling, with your permission, they're really feeling each one of you here as a human and as the energies that are in your fields and as all that you're interested in, all that you dream of, all that you struggle with. They're so fascinated by each one of you. They're just like peering intently into each of your energy fields and learning so much from it. And they're just fascinated and they have so much love. It's just really fun to watch because they're like, whoa. They're really getting to experience being human. For some of them it's again, but for some of them it might be for the first time through each of your human fields. So that's fun to see. And then the other thing I'm being shown is that in relationship to how can we be better practitioners, I'm seeing that every single client that comes to each one of us has both a lock and a key, and we have a lock and a key. And they have a key that fits a lock in our field, and we have a lock or a key that fits theirs. So there's just this beautiful, beautiful connection that happens energetically that we offer to each other with each and every client that comes to us. And it isn't just quantum healing clients, it's other types of clients too. This can be so in all professions, that every single person that connects to us on a human level, we can trust that there is these, I just see it as a very specific lock in their field that we have a key to, and lock in our field that they have a key to. It's a beautiful visual.
Love that. Thank you.
Is there a specific way that we can help the humans who are still so closed off? Is there something specifically we can do to help them open their heart to the source and the they?
Be a love rebel and love them in the most unexpected way. Shock them with how you love them.
Could you give us an example of that?
Just wants to say the grocery store again.
You might have a person or a client in front of you who is so serious about everything. Everything is terribly serious. And you might get the giggles. You might start finding little things they say cute and humorous in the softest, gentlest way. And this feels like love to them because nobody's ever found them funny before or humorous. This might be the gift to say, you lighten me up. You make me laugh in the sweetest way. I find you humorous, and it's so beautiful because I love to laugh. And to a very serious person, this might be the greatest gift of love.
Wondering if there is any specific information or messages for this group in particular that we have with us today. We form our own morphic field and everything we bring to it, either from they or Dolores.
Many of you have already been aware of a greater level of cohesiveness in this specific group. A greater, perhaps you would say faster heart-to-heart bond being formed. Taking more delight in each other. And perhaps other groups you've been parts of. This is because you have so much to offer each other. You already came in having love for each other. It's a morphic field. That is expanding every moment you spend together.
Thank you for that. And any advice on how we could utilize this cohesiveness that we have and that we have a lot to offer each other? How might we best utilize that for our own and
Here's a visual.
other benefit?
I'm being shown these wings. Big, powerful wings right in front of my awareness right here. Moving in the most beautiful way. Moving the energy, the ability to fly. And as a group, and as humans, you can be very aware of how birds can fly, individually fly, but together as a flock. And their presence is larger, covers more area. They have coherent coordinated movements. And this is not to say you need to do the same things or say the same words, but that your goals and intentions and hearts are focused on the same thing. Those things, of course, are things we've spoken about already. Expansion of consciousness, humanity's great goal of bringing the most dense subject, the greatest light and consciousness for God, gave each of you this mission. Can you do it? Can you come here and remember? Are you capable? Finding greatness and pure love, a place where these are mere concepts and seemingly fantastical. Can you do that? Yes. Doing this work is one way. Right now, I can't feel the floor. I can't feel my heaviness. I can't feel blankets. I can't feel anything. It's really strange. It's like my cells are vibrating just outside my body or something. And I mean, I don't know. I have to sort of ponder this, but the overwhelming sense I get is that those jerky, spasmy things that you all have watched me go do. It's like this is the first time that I've ever like got to the end of that, and something else has happened, and that something else is happening to me right now. And it's almost like the only thing that's really physical right now is my mouth. Maybe my eyes a little bit. I can kind of sense a movement of air up and down in front of me, but like I cannot feel my body right now. It's absolutely wild. Wow. Okay, that's all.
Just enjoy that. Thank you.
I guess I'm enjoying it. It's truly different.
Yeah.
I'll let you know later about how that plays out.
Well, thank you for sharing that. We are winding down to the end of our time, but we do have a question.
I was just wondering, you did mention, everything is possible, you talk about creation, and as a few of us are getting started with this type of work and other healing work that we do, I think Dolores used to say, oh, the SC will send you the clients. What is your perspective?
We'll let the person who's only a mouth speak.
She's really enjoying this. Just keep doing the work. The advice never changes. Just show up. Just show up. The more you do, the more you give. And this is not to be, as Candace has said, of servitude. Meet others equally on the same footing. Seeing the possibilities, the potentials involved. You will bind, push, and force, the harder it all becomes. Time. You cannot sit back and expect it to be handed to you without creating first the energy and then actually taking your human feet and stepping towards that. Two things are necessary for creation of anything. Clients are but one. The good news, if you wish to think about it, because it is born of tragic news, is that daily the humans on your planet are experiencing things that will rock them to their cores. The conventional world will be unable to explain. They will feel untethered from everything they've ever believed was true or real or worthy. They will be looking for you. There aren't enough of you right now to handle the need that is coming. That truthfully is here right now. But that will only stability in your presence. Simply the understanding in your eyes. It's the most powerful. So, most things that they cannot.
So just holding that love in our eyes will help them to connect with their ability to move through it.
See with your heart.
See with your heart. It feels like an important message for this year. This year does feel like a big year to many of us. And I'm wondering if there's anything we haven't asked about today that would be important to share with us before we end this conversation, which hopefully is one of many more to come. It's Dolores or Emoto or any of the other days want to share.
There's humor coming. Thank you for attending our Dolores talk.
Thank you so much.
Wow, okay. That was like a disconnect.
Disconnected.
Shock you a little?
And so just bringing your light bodies back into each of your physical bodies. Donna's into hers.
Did that?
Candace into Candace. It's not have any scrambled in here.
Immersion is practice, practice, practice. Practice in giving BQH sessions, certainly, facilitating sessions, but also in being the client, in receiving sessions, which has its own unexpected charms and learning, layers and layers of learning. And you know what they say about practice? Practice makes mastery possible. Without practice, we can't even get to proficiency, much less mastery. But it's not just practice. It is supported and nurtured practice, supported by Candace and by experienced practitioners and by brand new practitioners who come just chock full of creative ideas and outside the box things that we can all try. So it's practice that up levels us in all kinds of ways, in best practices, creative facilitating, and in personal confidence. You know, many, if not most of us, are the most out there person in our communities, or as I like to say, metaphysically evolved. So it's pretty magical to get together for a week with like-minded people, people that are as out there as we each are. And I'm always stretched by these beautiful souls that come to immersion and practice together. I kind of liken the community to the week long of community to an NDE or visiting heaven or the other side for a little bit. When it's over and I return to my quote unquote real life, I am not the same. I don't see life or myself or anybody else in quite the same way. And then, of course, I have to mention the food. If you're anything like me and you choose your travel destinations, your shopping trips, maybe even your workshops by what food is available, then come to immersion for the food. The lunches and the snacks provided are very accommodating to our food sensitivities, dietary needs, yes. But more than that, they are high frequency, which is to say they're beautiful and nutritious and tasty and very fulfilling. So come to immersion for the food